Welcome back, squad. Today we're talking about the all fast food fantasy team for 2024. Let's hit it. We're taking fast food chains, we're comparing them to players. Let's go. First up, we have McDonald's. McDonald's is kind of trashy, it's pretty cheap, but it gets the job done. You don't always love it, but it does work. And our McDonald's option for this year is Chris Godwin. You're sitting there saying, I don't really like Chris Godwin. That makes sense. Godwin averaged 7.6 targets per game last season. ESPN has him ranked as wide receiver 33. He could easily crack the top 30, even the top 25. That would not shock me at all. Don't always love it, but it gets the job done. Chris Godwin, McDonald's. Next up, we have Burger King. If you love Burger King, I'm sorry. I think it's gross. I think it's cheap. I think it's overrated. I think it's bad. Burger King this year is the Carolina Panthers running back room. Now, you might say Jonathan Brooks is just drafted. He comes in. He's going to be super exciting. And he is. That's true. But he's coming off a torn ACL, which I don't love. And he has to compete with 3 other running backs in that room. He has to compete with Chuba Hubbard, Miles Sanders, and Rashad Penny, who they just signed. Now, by week 10, could Brooks eventually take over this backfield? Maybe. I'm not saying that's out of possibility, but I don't trust that they're going to do anything beyond a committee where someone gets 40% of the work at most. I don't trust it going in. I don't trust it going out. Burger King, Carolina Panthers running back room. Chick-fil-A is next. Chick-fil-A is solid. Chick-fil-A is consistent. I know what I'm getting, and I like what I'm getting. Mike Evans. Mike Evans has 10 straight years of 1,000 receiving yards or more. I trust him to do his job. Evans averaged 8 targets per game last season, and he's getting older, which makes me a little bit nervous, but I still trust him to do his job. The Bucs offense is still led by Baker. They're still a pass-first team. I still trust them. He's going to be wide receiver 11 according to ESPN, which I think settles in about where I expect him to be. You know what you're getting. It's consistent. It's good. Trust the man. Mike Evans, Chick-fil-A. Up next, we have Sonic. I never really get food at Sonic. I really just go late night for ice cream. I go for one thing, and if I'm going for one thing on the Chargers offense, it's Justin Herbert. ESPN has him ranked as quarterback 16 next season. 16. Now, am I saying he's going to break out and be a superstar? No, not necessarily. He's not going to be top 5. I doubt he's top 8. But 16 is way too low for him. I like Sonic ice cream. I like Justin Herbert. He's basically free if you're getting him at 16. That's crazy. Even if you want him as your 2, get him as your 2 and get like a rookie. Get a Jaden Daniels. Get a Caleb Williams. Get someone with more rushing, more upside. Herbert still has the arm talent. He still has the ability. And they're going to run the ball more, but they're going to have to throw at some point because they're going to suck. Should have kept Keenan Allen. It's fine. Now, if he was QB 8, I probably wouldn't buy him at that price. If Sonic ice cream was $10, I probably wouldn't go to Sonic. But Sonic is cheap. You know what you're getting. And it's usually pretty solid. Justin Herbert, Sonic. Up next, we got Wendy's. Wendy's is solid. Wendy's is cheap. I love Wendy's. I'm always down to get Wendy's. Wendy's is underrated in my opinion, and so is Christian Kirk. ESPN currently has him as wide receiver 35 on the season. I think he will definitely outperform that. Kirk averaged 7.1 targets per game last season, and maybe more so to the point Calvin Ridley is gone. This is like being across from a Chick-fil-A. No, Calvin Ridley ain't no Chick-fil-A. Calvin Ridley is like... In 12 healthy games last season, Kirk had 3 games below 10 fantasy points. I'm not saying he's going to shoot the moon. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star. I'm not buying him at wide receiver 20. But I do like Kirk. I think he's underrated. I think he's cheap. I think he's a good value. I think he, at the very least, his floor is where you're getting him at wide receiver 35. I think there's a potential to go up. He's competing with Evan Ingram, which is fair. He's competing with Gabe Davis, who just runs deep routes. I'm still a fan of Trevor Lawrence. Less so this year because there's no Ridley, less offense to go around. But I like Kirk. He's going to be the one in this offense. I think he still has a solid floor. I like him. Up next, we have Jack in the Box. Know the name, know the face with the Chargers, Kamani Vidal. Now, like I said, I don't trust the Chargers this year. I really don't trust their running back room. Jack in the Box is a shot in the dark. I've been there like once in my life. I have no idea what I'm getting, but it's cheap. And if I don't like it, I just throw it in the trash. It's Jack in the Box. Not a big deal. Vidal. Vidal was a 6th-round pick by the Chargers in 2024, and he'll be in the running back room with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Now, here's what I like about his opportunity. Gus Edwards is 29 years old this year. He's not going to be the workhorse. He's obviously not going to have 75% of the touches in this backfield. They're getting a committee for a reason. Yes, he'll probably get the goal line work. Gus Edwards will be a fine bottom of the barrel. Hope he gets a touchdown, similar to how he was last year with the Ravens option. J.K. Dobbins, also on the Ravens. They just moved to L.A., basically. Dobbins is talented. We know that, but he's coming off an ACL and now an Achilles injury. I don't trust him. I like him. I like the player a lot. I don't trust him. If it was just a torn ACL, then we have like a Chris Godwin situation. If we have just a torn Achilles, then we have like an Aaron Rodgers, a Kirk Cousins situation. Problem is that he plays running back. He's going to have to run the ball, and that directional change is going to be limited by those two injuries. I'm not saying he's going to be useless. I'm not saying he's going to have zero value on the team. I'm just not going to touch him this year. And if he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong. Then more power to him. But what I like for Vidal is that there's opportunity. He averaged 5.6 yards per carry last season. And again, I'm not saying he shoots the moon. I'm not saying he's running back 11 this year. But if someone's going to be a horse that comes out of nowhere, it's going to be Vidal for the Chargers. And last but not least, Taco Bell. Taco Bell's good for a desperate late night run. I'm hungry. I'm bored. I need something. I'm going to T-Bell. And if I'm desperate and I need a late rounder, I'm going to Zay Jones. Zay Jones averaged 7.1 targets per game last season, which is the same as Christian Kirk. For reference, ESPN doesn't have him in the top 60, which is kind of crazy to me. Jones was injured a lot last season, but he's going to Arizona. He's going to have to compete with Harrison and McBride and some other wide receivers, Michael Wilson, some other ones I don't know. I don't trust him to be a top 2 option in that offense, but he could settle in at a 3-4 wide receiver, and it might surprise some people. Again, not saying it's good. It could give you the poops. Who knows? But Zay Jones is not a bad option who literally costs you a dime and a nickel. Thanks for sticking through the fast food edition. Let me know what you think. I'm getting hungry, so I'm going to go eat food. Bye.